Welcome to Darren 67 to 72. Hi, I'm Darren. And this is a 1968 C10 in bright white. Today, I want to do some assembly. Let's get some things put together. What I'm looking at is I just set the core support on there. It's got one bolt in it. I'll show you the pattern of bolts, washers, and spacers real quick. Then we're going to jump over here and put the inner fender well on. I got the bolt set out. Hopefully that goes smooth. Then we're going to put a fender on. I'm going to try to test fit my radiator. I haven't had in there till today. This is going to be, I just worried about returning it. I've had it probably more than a month anyway. And then if time goes right, I'd like to get the cowl on. I don't know. Let's see how far we can go. And I got door handles I'm working on. There's stuff to talk about. First thing I want to do is I'm going to grab you off the tripod and show you the washers on this core support. So bear with me while I fumble around with the camera. I don't do much of this under the truck stuff, so bear with me. What we're doing, so here's what we got. Can you see? Front horn to the frame. This is your mount right here. You see the bolt sticking out through it. What I've got, I'm going to see if I can sneak you right in there. There, I think you can see. We've got the cowl on top, and then we go, I should have got my pointer. Got my pointer finger. Then there's a washer. Then there's the black rubber spacer. Then another washer. And then the mount. That's what goes in there. I should mention the bolt is a carriage bolt. I'll show you that in just a second. So the tricky part was trying to figure out, this is a little different kit, and it's kind of nice. What they've done is you've got a rather large hole in this mount. And that's by design, so you can push the core support left, right, forward, backwards. You follow me? You can move it anywhere in that hole you need to. When everything's lined up, you tighten it up and you're good to go. Well, see if I can hold this and do it one-handed. It's going to be tricky. The next thing that goes on, because you have that large hole, you got to put on this funny triangular one. And this is designed to spread out the weight rather than a round washer. That'll spread the weight out around the entire core support mount. All right, is that going to stay? Yeah, look at that. Then we're going to go with, we need a rubber mount, and we want that to go on next. And then we want a washer, a rather thick washer too, by the way, and the nut. So I'm going to do it here one-handed. I know if my hand's in your way, but as soon as I get the nut on, I can show you. I should have just done it and tried to show you the whole thing, because now I'm fumbling around. Naturally, we're going to get her. All right. Square that up a little bit. It don't matter. It's in there. So there you go. Your nut obviously is on the bottom. It's not a lock nut. Don't need one evidently. This large thick washer goes next to the nut. There's your rubber plate and then a rubber washer. And then triangular plate goes next. So there's your order. It's kind of a stack of stuff in there, but it just makes it quiet, gives it a firm mount. It lets it move around a little bit. So real quick, I'll show you the top part. I know you can figure this out, but let me show you real quick. So you got a carriage bolt. That's a round top with the square underneath it. And what they do is they give you a square washer here. And that's so that when you're underneath, that doesn't spin. That square fits right inside there and won't allow that bolt to spin around. So you probably got that anyway, but there's a core support loosely mounted, and that's how you want it. I would tighten this, I would tighten this last. Something's got to be last. It just allows you to push the entire front end to the driver's side or passenger side. Once you get fenders on, you won't be able to go forward or aft, but you can still go left and right. So I leave those loose. The weight's sitting on it anyway. So there's that part real quick. Now you guys get to see me struggle. The struggle can be real sometimes, especially when you're, excuse me, I made it blurry. I don't know if I want to leave you this far back. I'd rather get you so you can see something. You're going to see my backside. Once we get it together, I'll show you more. The main purpose in this is to see how our new part fits our, well, this Fender's new too, and we'll talk about that as time goes on. The new parts don't come with the clips for the bolts that go in between the inner fender and outer. It doesn't come with the clips for the lights, or the emblem holes aren't drilled in it, so you got to measure those out 25 times and drill them probably wrong. I got it like the other one. I think it's right. Nobody will even notice. And I want to see about my black to white transitions. I got a little overspray in there. It's all got a good coat of black, and then I got a little white overspray on there because I didn't feel like taping everything off all the time. Every time you turn around, if I was doing a premium show vehicle, I might. But being under the Cowl and Fender, it is impossible to see it, even with a flashlight. And we're going to make sure of that today to make sure my transitions can't be seen when you open the door or look down into things. So enough talking about that. Let's see about getting this Fender in there. Now, a lot of these jobs are easier with two people, but it's fine. We'll get her done. And I probably should have took the tire off too. But I still got my jack under the truck, and that's fine. Look at that. We made it just fine. That should set right there without scratching anything. I'm always nervous. Okay. Got my bolt set out. I thought I had a bolt set out. I don't. Well, here's one. Can I take that one out? Yeah, why not? We'll put another one in there later. Yeah, I said later. All right. So the first bolt I like to put in on these Fenders is the large one in the back with a huge washer because it has a large square hole in it. I don't know why it's square, but it is. And that just goes into the cowl. A little noisy. Bear with me. I don't. I make everything look harder than it is. How hard is it to put a bolt into a nut? We're going to see here right quick. What is going on? Well, I'm a little embarrassed now. I even ran that bolt through one time before I turned the camera on to make sure it would go in there. But I didn't do it with a Fender. Oh, got it. I got it. Got it. I should probably run that in. It doesn't matter. Just so it holds it. There's three of them underneath here. We're just going to put one in. Again, we're test fitting everything. This is just a classic mock-up to make sure our parts play nice. It's going to make me struggle the whole time. All right. Again, just finger tight. Why is that crooked? I am not going to blame it on the part. Maybe this? Maybe. How many hands do I have? Just the two. Oh, for goodness sake. If I think it's good enough, it'll just fall when we get doing something else. So. There. For crying out loud. The struggle's real, people. Again, I make this look harder than it is. I promise you. It's generally not an issue. I guess I could probably move that. Like I said, the bolts are all loose in there. I must be camera shy because I'm sweating. I wasn't sweating the last hour I was working out here. Oh, forget it, close enough. I could run that in, but I'm not going to. Let me wipe the sweat off my brow. Goodness me. You know I was going to need a sweat rag out here. It's muggy, another 90-degree day, so bear with me. Another good thing about this is I realized that my bolt, the large bolt down underneath, 9/16, whatever it is, I don't have a short one, so we're going to have to buy one. This was never assembled when Tom bought the truck. There was no inner fenders, so none of them bolts are with it. I can count the bolts I need. These all need those clip bolts that go on there. What do they call them? So I can count what I need for those. Go to the store, hardware, and get a bunch of hardware. But I can count it all up before I go. I'll still buy a couple extras. But let's get that fender on. Now I generally like. Let me look before I talk too quick. I generally like to put the front bolt in the fender before I start this, so it's right there handy when it comes time to grab it. It'll be in the fender. Try not to scratch your paint. That's all I can tell you. If you're working one-man band, odds are you're going to scratch something eventually. I don't know how they keep from doing it on them professional trucks. You know, they got $225,000 wrapped up into a truck. You scratch a fender, that would just make a guy sick. You can put protective tape on, and you can do all them tricks. It seems like you still scratch stuff. It just has to be manipulated and pushed around and bumped on to get the holes lined up. It's part of a project. Try to do your touch-up paint the best you can when it comes time. So far, the only thing I think I've scratched or marked up is this fender. And I don't know how, because it hung on the wall. Nothing's touched it. Nothing leaned against it. But something's touched it there. It doesn't want to wipe off. But I noticed it's on the outside of the paint. It's not a scratch, so I can buff that out later. I'm not going to buff on anything until it's completely assembled. No sense in doing it twice. Hey, starting to look like a truck. I only had one of these in the truck. There might be some over. I got a box full of nuts and bolts that came with this truck, or I've saved. So I might have another fender. I'm very limited on shims. We'll have to get a kit. They make I don't know, you can get an assortment for a couple bucks. They're getting more expensive like anything. All right, that looks good. What's next? Let's put this cowl on. Put the cowl on. Excuse me. I'm going through puberty again. Seems like I go through that every day. All right. Now this is dusty. Don't make fun of me. You know, shop dust. Before final assembly, I'll wash these parts all up. And then when we're all finished, we'll wash the truck. All right. Again, good idea to have a partner when you do this stuff. Especially this. And I'm not doing it with a partner, obviously. And it's only because this goes on top of the fender where it can scratch it, and it goes up against this A-pillar where it can scratch it. So a good idea to have two people. I've done a few of these, so I'm generally pretty good about it, but it can still happen. Best way I found to do this is to go back and forth a couple times. Not try and push a fit the first time you're on either side. When you get something in a more comfortable position where you think it's good, go back to the other side. It takes a little more time, but it looks pretty good. We'll see if you guys can still see what I'm doing. Yep, you're good. And then the major fit with this one is getting it over the wiper knobs. That's usually what fights you on them. Otherwise, they just fall right into place. Ooh, I don't want that hit my A-pillar. I'm right there. I don't like it. I should have grabbed a rag or a towel. Let me set it down gently, and I will. I got one right here in front of you. Just in case. That's a place your eyes are going to be at when you come around the vehicle. It's just one of them spots. You would hate to have a scratch in there. All right, now we're kind of down in the spot. One more time back and forth, and I'll be happy. I think I will. So I can't even talk while I'm doing that. So nervous. All right, and then now push it this way, making sure your holes line up. It should be fairly close up here. Now that can all be adjusted when you do the final assembly. Getting gaps around, you know, that whole day I'll spend doing that, or two. All right, that looks pretty good to me. It's starting to look like a truck. I can't see any transition from the white to black here. Inside the grill is all black. I think originally they came white. The problem is you see all those supports. And then when they get dirty, you can't get in there with a brush or anything to wash it. It's silly. So I blacked it all out. It looks good. In here with the door's not on, but I don't see any black. That's going to be good. Let me check the other side here real quick. I know we got gaps are ridiculous. That's just set on there. I didn't even finger tight that bolt. But our gaps here, that sticks out a little bit. But again, that fender's out. That might need to be bent in a touch. But that's not for today. Looking at it, when you open the door jamb, you're not going to see any overspray anywhere. We're rock solid with that. It's looking pretty good. What do you think? Of course, sports on. Let's try that radiator, because I've been curious about that. It's supposed to be a direct fit, and then we'll look at the underneath of the hood. A direct fit drop in LS to C10 conversion, blah, blah, blah. Aluminum fancy. Double fan. I don't know if I ever showed you this. I probably did. Pretty decent looking, all aluminum. Welds look good. Dual fanner. I don't have the rubber isolators. My next order, we have a lot of little stuff I need to order. I'm going to order those rubber insulators. And then I'll probably take the radiator mount, the classic, what came with GM on these. I'll probably grab one I've got laying around and see if it works before I order Thomasat. It should work. Looking at them, those we'll worry about that another time. So it's in there. It does fit. Hose is going to line up. Top hose is going to work fine. Fans are clearing everything. Drains there. We have steam. I think this is steam port. It's kind of large, but maybe it is. I think it is. Or they're copycatting what we used to do on it didn't come with directions, but I'll look it up. I think the heater hose used to return here. Heater to here. Don't remember. Yeah, I think they do. I got a truck right over there. I could look. Here, let me look. Take 10 seconds. Don't go anywhere. I meant the radiator. Yes. Heater hose. Well, but then you'd have to block off one of the other ones down on the LS. So I think that's a steam port, because this is the overflow. Well, more things for me to learn. But here's what else I'm looking at. Does fit good. I'm happy with that. Don't need to return that. And then this is the kind of stuff I want to be aware of. I usually black these out. I kind of like it. So you have the painted fender that comes around, and the outer fender gets spot welded to the inner fender. So I paint the inner fender black, but the outer fender and the entire lip is white. That way when you close the hood down, you're all white on white on white. You don't have any black parts showing, or when you look inside underneath the hood, you'll have an entire black area under the hood. Everything's blacked out nice and looks good, and you'll just have this crisp white line where the outer fender's at. That's generally what I do. I think it looks cleaner than having the white down here with this waviness. And then the inner fender you can't see. I shouldn't say inner fender. The inside of the outer fender right now is blacked out, so it just flows nicely. If you painted it white, it would get dirty. It would look funny. So I'm looking at down the road. How's this going to look next year? You won't have that white, gray, dirty down in there. It's always going to be blacked out. Your eye won't even catch it. It'll just be pitch black in there. I'm liking it. I think it looks pretty good. Let's get back and give it a side view. Now the stance is not going to be perfect right now because I do have it on jack stands. Yeah, when you look up there, I'll show you. The rear is on jack stand, so it's got a little more rake than it probably should have. But you can see how much lower this is. Tire's real small. Tom might go with a small tire, but I think he'll go with a bigger rim. So that'll tend to fill this area a little more. But they're known for this. And this is my inner fender hanging down. Let's see what we got. Right now we're looking at what, 30 and a quarter to this body line. I'm gonna go over to my truck real quick. It's all stock. I haven't lowered this one a bit. So we're at 34 and a quarter. So 4.25 inch difference. Now that is a 3/4 ton. It's probably an inch higher. And so that puts us right at the 3.5 inch drop. Everything's working out. It's the way it should be. Awesome. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to assembly time and making it look like a truck. Of course, now I wished I'd have spent the time this week and painted the top, because it really would have made this photo look a lot cooler. But there's more stuff to come. We'll check that out in another week or two. So the other thing I'm working on with this, that went way easier than I thought. Over here amongst my welding table mess, this is another don't know what we're doing for sure thing. Get you where you can see it. That should be pretty good. So while we were at the store, whatever. I said store. I'm not thinking right. When we were at the guy's house where you order these parts, Tom and I talked about the painted bumpers. He didn't want chrome. He's not a chrome guy. I'm cool with that. It's America. You do your thing. You do you. I'll do me. We mind our own business. I'm liking this, but if we just keep going black on white, when we get done, it's going to look like a cop car or an old school cop truck. I mean, that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Maybe he won't care. But I don't like black on white. I mean, black looks good on white. White looks good on black. But when it's all you see, it gets that old cop car look. So what I did, instead of chrome handles, I got a bunch of these old door handles laying around. Painted one gloss white, painted one gloss black. And I'm going to grab another one. I should have done it before I had you guys here. All right, next week I'll show you. I'm going to grab a third one, and I'm going to paint it with that silver. Now, what I'm talking about when I say silver, I should have done one. You can't see very well, can you? These turned out okay for just rattle can paint. They're pretty shiny. I know there's a white background, black background, but they're going to be pretty cool. I think the white one will look the best. I don't think the black one's going to look that great. They do make black ones. This is what I was going to tell you. I told Tom they don't make color ones. I've never seen them. And I don't think they're dry enough to monkey with, but I shouldn't. I looked them up online. They make black ones. Cool. But they made it a little different. It kind of had a carved out look to it. Whatever. $303 a pair. I kept looking. They don't make colored ones. Whites, orange, reds, blacks. They don't do that. But they make other black ones. 2-3 companies. So people like the black handles, the black outlook. That's cool. I get it. Not my jam, but it's sweet. The nice looking black handle ones were $550. Wow. But hey, if that's what he wants, we'll get them ordered up. What I'm thinking, and again, I will do this. You got to have a shop tour. You know how it is around here. That's all you get for a shop tour. I'm thinking this silver here. It's not chrome. It's not ultra bright. It's not ridiculous. It's subtle. It blends things together without making it look like you drove through a white car wash. Just everything white tip to tail. That's my opinion. If you're going to go with black trim on a white truck, then you paint these black? I don't know. Maybe it'd look cool. I don't think I'd like it, because you're still going to have chrome around the wipers and the badges. It doesn't end, is what I'm trying to tell you. Even if you're not painting a truck, you're just going to run it like Eddie says he's going to run his truck. I like patina. Run that. Whatever it is, I don't care what color it is or how faded it is, run that. I think that's cool. That's my opinion. But you're going to run into these problems where somebody painted something or it looks just rusty. What do you do? So that's the reason I went with the silver on these. It doesn't just look like bleached out vehicle, but it doesn't pop so hard that it's irritating like a bright chrome would bother Tom or other people, I'm sure. And the chrome on all the other stuff's faded down and is dull anyway. So this color is what I'm going to paint the next door handle. So he'll have 3 choices of door handles. I do like this silver here, and I like the quality of it too. And all I used was a higher quality name brand wheel paint, because the wheel paints are designed for more abuse than just your standard rattle can. This is pretty durable. So I'm going to paint a door handle like that. I think, I'll be quiet, we're going to go back over and look at Chuck again, because that's cool over there. But I think this silver would be the theme. I would go with this wheel painted silver on the door handles, maybe the wipers too. I'm down with that. And maybe even the bumpers. I think it'll be so subtle, it'll blend right and you won't even think about it, versus that harsh black on white or white bumpers on a white truck. I mean, I don't know, it's an opinion thing, but even me, I don't know my opinion on something until I really look at it. I'm not big on a white truck, but it's starting to look really cool. I'm starting to really like this truck. I might not like, I don't know, yellow. I'm not a fan of yellow. But if it's done right and somebody blended all the colors together and the seats were done right, I could go with that. I think I got a good eye for things that I don't even like, just to know that they look good. Oh, we're not going to get into things that look good and you don't like. You could talk all day about that. All right, I guess that was all I covered today. We're probably getting close to running out of time anyway. I want to give you one more gander at the old truck. Got you kind of crooked on the camera stand now. But there's my week. There's what I got done. Drilling these out, painting these up, getting the core support done. A lot of you seen that. Getting them door handles around. I started some work on these rear box sides. The seam sealed a bunch of places I don't want paint or rust bleeding through. Something else to talk about. I always got stuff I forget. Your emblems. I had to drill the holes. So now what? Well, you know I drilled the holes. There's bare metal in there. Well, you could just slap it on. It's probably not going to matter. Yes, it will. Promise you. Especially on a white vehicle. As soon as you get some water in there, 8, 10, 12 times, 6 months, whatever it takes, and those rings, the holes you cut out will start rusting. And you know what you're going to have? Rust drips running down the side of this truck. That would piss the guy off. I'm sorry. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be pissed. So what I did on these, I was going to just squirt a little paint in there, and I thought, what's better than paint? I'm going to put a blob of silicone on each side so that the emblem's actually siliconed on. It's not going to rattle and move, because those nuts in the back, the cap nuts that are stamped, they're not great. And then I've got a little bit of silicone, just a tiny bit, a ring around them. I'll have a little silicone on this side, a little silicone on that side. That nut's got it all smashed together. Water can't get in there. Water can't get in, water can't rust. So there's that. I noticed I got to get new felts for around these too. You can see right in the truck. They make like a rubber ring around those. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that I'm going to have to order. The bumpers for the doors, I actually think I have those, but there's a lot of that to come. I'm not going to bore you guys with what parts to order, but that's the truck this week. I think it looks pretty nice. I'm going to keep going on this. I did have one last question to ask Tom, and something for you to think about, especially with brand new fenders. I want to coat the bottom side of these fenders with my tar coat. You know how much I love that. There's no better time than when they're off the vehicle. Yeah, I know I just put them on the vehicle, but this will have to be disassembled one last time, and then final assembly. So I want to ask Tom if he wants those tar coated, because once you put it on, let's just say it's not coming off. Then he might want, at least for the first year maybe, he might want that shiny inside fender well. It looks professional. It looks nice. But then it's going to be a pain to get in there and tar coat it later. And you won't be able to get it around underneath the bolts and all that. So there is that. That's this week. I don't think I forgot anything else. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. You guys are the greatest. I hope you've seen I got a point everywhere so you don't know where it's at. I hope you've seen the Loctite. I try to put it in every video. Like, subscribe. I don't ask every day, but there I ask. Thanks again. I got to go.